Alberta, land of mountains, rivers, lakes, and some of the best ranching and farmland in Canada. Central Alberta settlers discovered the rewards of living in this region with their abundant crops, and today's farmers still benefit from the rich soil combined with excellent growing conditions. Located in the heart of this region is the town of Ponoka. Known for its world-class stampede, this laid-back little gem exemplifies life in rural Alberta. The downtown is lined with angled parking stalls in front of locally owned businesses, where the Capitol Theatre and Royal Hotel are still landmarks of bygone days. The somewhat prosperous facade of life today does not tell the tale of earlier residents when life wasn't so easy. To get an idea of how things were back in the old days, one of Ponoka's active citizens gives us a glimpse of the past while continuing her tireless schedule of events. Meet Viola Jane, or Vi for short. Always busy in the kitchen, Vi is known for her oven-fresh bread and her berry-laced baking. With over 85 years of experience in the kitchen, something tasty is always being prepared. Friends that stop over for coffee never go home hungry.
Just put the one batch in, and then when I put the second one in, I'll put the extra, because it's going to be more than two. I was just telling Fred, I had a cousin who used to tell stories about my bread, and every time he told it, the loaves were a little bigger. Well, I have to tell you, when John was born, the lady that was taking care of Mom had to go home. I was 6 years old. And I can still remember that. Some neighbors come because when Mom was first pregnant, she was feeling kind of bad. She was pregnant again. Oh, well, I guess I'll give it to you guys if I have another boy. And anyway, they came and were joking about coming for the baby, and Mrs. Rude had to go home, and I remember leaving the frying pans till they're all dirty, because I had to do the dishes, but I hated doing the frying pan. Oh.
She set the rules. Let her out, and wherever she goes.
They paved that.
Yeah, it's paved.
Up under the 2A, or is it under the number 2? From Morningside around the corner where we are, and then it goes all the way to Milton Road.
But even for little kids to see a binder being cutting grain, and how the bundles go down on the rack, and then they flip them off, and then somebody's got to go scoop them up in a stoops, and then they throw them in the hay.
Did they? There too for them to see.
Yeah, my brother's writing. He talks about him and Gary Riley smoking under the bridge at the Devil's Elbow.
My daughter Marilyn was with her.
Oh, it was Marilyn. She was telling me, Marilyn. Yeah.
Somebody else from Ponoka won something big, didn't they? Stampede time.
Oh, yeah.
I forget who it was.
Well, it's kind of nice to see it go to somebody rural.
Oh, yeah, the cattle. Yeah, the cattle was a shimp that won them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard that, Marie. You're a dirty old lady, you.
That's not being dirty. I'm trying to help.
Just practical.
I'm trying to help.
A short drive to school in a car is more comfortable than walking, riding a horse, or hitching up the horse to the sleigh in winter. Despite the physical difficulties to attend school, education was a sought-after commodity that few were able to acquire. Sometimes a short diversion to pick some berries made the trip to or from the classroom more enjoyable. Although the school has moved to a new location, the memories surrounding Vi's time spent inside its walls are still as fresh as the berries she picked en route.
I was interested to know when it started, and it says 1908. And it would be Mom wasn't around till after 1913. So it was to be past that her and Aunt Victoria worked getting the bill, school bill. Yeah. I think Aunt Victoria taught here maybe 1 year or part of a year. Yeah. It seems like these windows look lower now. I don't suppose they are. It was just when we were sitting down, they looked high. Every once in a while, Mr. Sharp would have, one time somebody left meat out of their sandwich on the floor. He'd have a real big deal out of it. I remember that. Boy saying, the teacher called it cow meat. And Ralph said it wasn't, it was steer meat. And another time somebody had that game Pin the Donkey. Somebody pinned it the wrong way. And then that was a real session to find out who had done that. Mr. Sharp used to often slip over to his house to make a meal or do some work. And then come back. If anybody was misbehaving, there was real trouble. But he shouldn't have been leaving in the first place. The only time I get in trouble when we used to put kiss curls across her forehead. He said, if you put any more of those in your hair, I'm going to cut them off. And I thought, well, he's just talking. He can't cut my hair off. And so I did put another one, and he took a razor blade and cut my hair off. You wouldn't get away with that nowadays, but.
Growing up on the farm with her parents and 5 younger brothers, Viola reminisces about each of their lives.
Roy went in the Air Force, of course, and then he couldn't. He got trained for a pilot, and they didn't need pilots anymore. So that kind of changed his life. He was always wishing he could have flew. And George being not getting along as well as school. Well, he didn't have any particular trade, but and John went 1 year to high school and then in town. And then that's when they needed people to supervise, and there wasn't enough teachers. So he started supervising, and about 3 weeks into the course, a lady in the district had her harvest work done, so she wanted to teach. So then it was too late for him to go back to school, and that's how he started to work and got into the oil business. And Fred, I don't know why, he just didn't. He took a welding course, but he got burnt the first time he went on a job, and so he never stuck with that. And then he got pleurisy, and he had to go to the sand for a year to rest his lungs. And so by then he realized he was allergic to the farm things, so he started in the hardware then, traveling salesman. But Dawn went on to school, so I don't know how the folks had money. I think Donnie played pool and got money somehow himself, because they sure didn't have much money to give to him. but somehow he made her. And then ending up with the sickness he had, he done wonderful to get through that far in life before it caught up to him. That bipolar problem. So that was us all. My mom only got to go to grade 3, so that's all she had. The longs when she had to go to live with them, they didn't believe in her going to school. And they moved to Alberta when she was 13 and had to hunt for cows quite a lot then, work outside. So there was no going back to school. So Dad didn't do a lot of going. He didn't mind sitting up all night with little pigs, or he had energy that way. And he usually come in about 10:30, and when we got the big radio and turn on and get Salt Lake City, that was a big deal. He'd make himself coffee, or he could, if there's nothing good to eat around, he could make porridge. In church, we could walk to church. That was just a mile, so often church was so small there'd be only 6 or 8 people there. I don't know how they kept it going, but they did get a church built and keep it going. But eventually we had to just have a student come out for the summer. I didn't ever be to a wedding before mine, so I just bought a blue dress. What I liked. I didn't know you're supposed to wear a white dress. It didn't just rain; it hailed during the ceremony. So that was, everybody's looking out the window at the hail, probably, rather than looking at me. Everybody sure complained, but there was no way to change it, like to go to any hall. It was just that much more mud to fight. So people were blessing the roads and getting stuck and whatnot. George was pulling out cars out of the yard until about 9:30 at night. The saying was because Alec bought Ed's car. Yeah, I remember that night. It changed hands. Ed sang "Goodbye, Little Darling." But that was Ed's saying. Every once in a while he'd meet up with Alec and he'd say, "Well, I got the girl and you got the car."
Another early morning and just enough time for a workout before going to the Legion for coffee with her friends.
Well, I have the odd recipe in the odd place, but I enjoy looking through. And Connie brought a salad the other day. It's got pomegranates and some other white little guy. I don't know what that is. I gotta ask her. No oil. It's just,
I don't put oil in dressing.
You don't, eh?
no.
You just the vinegar and
I found 3 in my recipe books the other day, or I didn't. Mike Grishner was doing some work for me. And 3 big recipe books had slid down behind the water tank. And the girls, they got after me. I had a Johnny pole in the furnace room. No, that's not safe. And here was these three behind the tank for I don't know how long.
You have to use a recipe or find recipes for that.
The lady that came from the government, you never knew who she's going to question, whether there's anybody that knew what they're talking about or not. But the main thing she got after me for was to put all my recipes on cards, because she said that you never know when you're going to get sick, so you don't leave somebody in the lurch. That's my job as chaplain of the Legion. I'm the only recognized visitor at the church. Lots of people visit, but I'm the only recognized one. And Royal Purple, I just have it this year. And IODE, that's something I can do. I wouldn't want any other bigger positions at this age, but hospitality is something I can do. Well, Dwayne got a scholarship one year when we didn't have our harvesting done, and he was going to university and we didn't know how. And he won an IODE scholarship, and I just told myself whenever I have time I will join the IODE.
Until next month, keep up the good works, everyone, and keep IODE in your thoughts as your first choice for charitable donations. Diane. So that's quite exciting that Panuka's Youth Center got to $10,000.
I think it's been a while, isn't it, since you got a check?
Yeah.
Well, Sylvia gave me money. $10, but besides that, I just had change left.
Well, we were just using the money from the raffle, but we haven't been very consistent in bringing those raffles in.
No.
That seemed to be quite sufficient at one time.
So now, services, Eleanor, do you have anything to tell us?
Nothing to report.
Okay. Hospitality, Vi.
No, I guess not. I'll try to get a card and note away to Mrs. Howell, because Linda says she can't hear on the phone, so she said I haven't any communication with her. So probably a note would.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
sure
good.
You want me to get you some? Well, I think you should just get the 20 checks and I will, and then we'll go from there. We'll go from there.
But really, pies, from my experience in business, pies are not the big money maker either. Probably the poorest item that there is.
So now, then, new business. Do we have any new business?
Do you circulate express news to your members?
Sure, Guy calls every month.
Is your chapter interested in receiving more news about other IODE chapters?
This definitely, the school reunion as ambassadors and showing the guests around and putting a good face on the school, that certainly is volunteering.
Play in 1940 was a big deal for us all. Mom was in it, and George and Roy was in it, and Cliff Long was made up to be a darky, and that's when Alec and I played opposite parts in that play. He had to come on the stage singing "You Are My Sunshine" and propose to me and whatnot. So that's why we were kind of close for a while. Alec phoned and wanted to take me for supper. Well, I'd already ate supper, and I used that for an excuse, but he had been driving one of his neighbors around quite a bit, somebody that was a little older than him. But I didn't know what this amounted to, and I kind of stalled. And then after Marge getting after me and 2 or 3 of the kids saying I was crazy, well, I did ask him then if he wanted to come for Sunday night supper. I guess Connie was stopping from Calgary. A few days later, we went for supper in Lacombe. I guess it's the first outing we had. When I was a kid, we picked raspberries at Joe Long's place. So I usually got some raspberries. Ron was the one I could take with me and not complain. He'd never say he was tired or complain, but Myrna was a pretty good picker. Pat seemed to eat quite a bit of hers. Well, sometimes I told myself I shouldn't look for berries as often as I did. But it seemed like it was the thing to do when you're poor, but on the other hand, maybe it was just getting away from the house.
And Viola is off again to another meeting, possibly to visit a shut-in friend, or maybe to pick up a little gift item at the thrift store. For a 91-year-young great-grandmother, her energy levels rival people 60 years junior to her. In retrospect, Vi has a special wish and a very important question that all of us should consider.
I guess you always look back, wish the kids were small a little longer, but those kind of things can't happen. Time goes so fast. Did we enjoy it all we could while we were passing through all those different stages?